Part 9. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 81. Fight to Fame has many benefits. For example, when he and Chi-Change-I walk together again, there are fewer students staring at him, and no one wants to buy his followers by smashing spirit stones. For example, Chi-Change-I's identity has been changed very smoothly, and no one is embarrassing them. The identity cards were replaced by ordinary students. For example, the four of them didn't need to set up stalls. On the second day of the alchemy competition, Jolie sent the title deed of the shop to their courtyard. The shop was not rented by them, but belonged to them privately. Now it has been transferred to Guyao's name. With such a shop, if it is released for bidding, tens of thousands of spirit stones will be credited immediately. After listening to Jolie's explanation, Guyao almost couldn't hold back and sell it. That's tens of thousands of spirit stones. When can you earn it by selling medicine pills? Of course, there are also troubles, that is, after going out, he will be greeted warmly by many students, almost all of them are unfamiliar faces. The completely different attitude from before makes Guyao very troubled, and it strengthens his determination to be a home repair. In addition to going to the Chuan Gongtang and the Archives Pavilion, if it is not necessary, they will not step out of the small courtyard where they live. The shop completely handed over to Tian Firong and Little Fatty. Jolie walked into the shop called Gucci, and every time he saw the name of the shop, he was speechless. Is it too lazy or to show everyone the close relationship between the two? Since the first day of the reopening of Guk's shop, the students who came in for the medicinal pills found that the shop not only sold medicinal pills, but also sold spiritual talismans, and the rank of the magical talismans was also not low, and the talisman masters drawn were not inferior to Guyao. This is the alchemist, but at this time, no talisman jumped out to challenge the talisman behind the store. The example of Danfeng is there. It is said that Li Shurong and Lu Linga will go back to Danfeng. It was announced that it was closed, and it probably won't appear in a short time. However, people like Jolie know who the talisman is. Who would have thought that Chi-Change-I, a sword cultivator, could still draw a good talisman? Jolie didn't care much about the original mid-level talisman. The first time I came here, I bought a lot for self-defense. Are you alone again? The two of them are absent as usual, Jolie Xiao asked. The little fat man rolled his eyes. Isn't this nonsense? Guyao and Qi Shao have always been impatient to deal with people. Tian Firong came over and said, Senior brother Zhou has run out of pills? Are you coming to buy it again? It was Jolie's turn to roll his eyes. I'm almost emptying out my spiritual stone, I can't afford it. Then he showed gossip and said, have you heard that there is a saying recently spread in the outer court that 10 years ago isn't there a mysterious person who sells high-grade Baiwadan in Fangchang? He also made Hu Guzu's grandson take the blame. Since that day, after the alchemy competition, some people said that the person who made Hu Guzu's grandson bear the blame was not someone else, it was at that time Guyao in Shifang City. What do you say is true? Cough, cough. The little fat man choked and coughed violently. He was planning to stop caring about this matter. What was so bored that he brought it up? He didn't say anything. In fact, he had guessed it when the results of the test came out that day. The person who made him take the blame had no one but Guyao. Before he could ask Guyao for confirmation, Guyao himself knocked on his door and confessed the matter. Little fat man. How could Guyao be blamed? It wasn't Guyao who confessed his fault, but the blind guys in Shifang City. Even if Guyao himself stood up and admitted that the alchemist was him, he probably wasn't regarded as a lunatic, or he thought he had paranoia. Tian Firong didn't ask Guyao for confirmation, but he also felt that the person was Guyao in 8 or 9 out of 10 cases. Why? It wasn't to raise the spirit stones to enter Tianfu Academy, but there is no need to explain this kind of thing to the brothers one by one. Besides, When I was in Shifang City, there were ears on the wall, so that others would know what kind of things would happen. With Guyao's temperament, of course it is better to have less than one thing. Tianfirong raised his eyebrows. What does this show? What if that person is Guyao? What if it's not Guyao? You say yes, little fat man. He kindly patted the little fat man on the back, thinking that the little fat man was startled. Jolie replied, as a matter of course I'm curious, but that is the person who Hugu has said to be a direct disciple, so although some people outside say that that person is Guyao, but many people are against it. Regarding the opinions, I thought it was impossible for anyone to refuse to be a disciple of Master Hugu, but I have a different opinion. Oh? What is it? The little fat man gasped and asked curiously. Jolie affirmed, of course, Guyao has another teacher, so you can't just take others as your teacher. You said, if this kind of argument spreads outside, it will make other sects and people in Qian Valley. I know, Guyao would rather choose Tianfa College than enter the Qian Valley. How would they feel? Yes, this person must be the Lord who is afraid that the world will not be in chaos. Tianfirong pushed him out. It's definitely not us, Guyao, don't join in the fun, we are all people with self-knowledge. Why didn't Guyao enter Qian Valley? Tianfirong can guess the reason. First, it is because Guyao's Lingon talent is too poor, so as not to stand up and be disliked and end up in an embarrassing situation, and second, because Guyao has his own heritage and secrets, then if the transformation potion is exposed, I don't know how much shock it will cause. Guyao has his own inheritance, so naturally he is not uncommon to worship Huguzu as his teacher, and he can keep a low profile. At that time, it will be exposed, and in the end, I don't know if he will be able to get out of Shifang City. After Jolie left, Tianfirong and the little fat man looked at each other and quickly took out a message to inform Qi Changjai about the incident. I don't know if it will have any impact on Guyao. Is Jolie coming to test their attitude? Jolie returned to the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce and said to Zhang Yan with certainty, it seems that the top grade Baiwadan in Shifang City was shot by Guyao, and Guyao's choice was really unexpected. Zhang Yan smiled and said, this shows that Guyao is very awake and calm. You didn't hear the outside voice. Many people are talking about Guyao's spiritual root talent, saying that no matter how high his alchemy talent is, he will be affected by spiritual root. Qualification restrictions. It's hard to be a great thing. If you really enter the Qian Valley, it is hard to say whether it can be valued by Huguzu as always. Besides, Huguzu couldn't even keep his own grandson, and was forced to escape the Qian Valley. It means that it is not a very quiet place. The reason for his talent is either jealous of Guyao or to save face for Dan Feng. Zhang Yan thought so. Hu Wei is the one who was forced to escape from Qian Valley. Someone is against Hu Yk, Jolie exclaimed in surprise. Zhang Yan glanced at him. What all the fuss was about. Hu Yk's reputation both inside and outside the Qian Valley is not very good. Who do you think his talent can threaten to make him known for stealing medicine pills? It's a pity. I don't know if Huguzu himself is aware of the problems in Qian Valley, and Hu Yk will not be able to go back willingly if he doesn't solve it one day. Jolie laughed twice. Senior brother, you said that Guyao came to Tianfa College, so this Hu Yk will not come here too? If this is the case, then Qian Valley and Hugu will become the master. Entire Tianlin continent is a joke. It can't be such a coincidence. Zhang Yan was stunned for a moment, but then he thought again, this is really a good place to hide. If it wasn't for Jolie's words, who would have guessed that Huguzu's grandson came to Tianfa College? I'm afraid that Huguzu will not think of this if he has searched the entire Tianlin continent. Guyao and Qi Changjai came out of the collection pavilion together, and Guyao asked curiously, brother, yeah, there was an earth-shaking war in the cultivation world hundreds of thousands of years ago? All races and monks were involved, so that the entire cultivation world was involved. The face of the world has also undergone great changes. Is this true? He had previously flipped through a book in the collection pavilion that introduced the history of the cultivation world, most of which were recorded in biographical and bizarre stories. The authenticity of it could not be studied, and no one cared about it in a corner. Hundreds of thousands of years, for Tianlin continent, I don't know how many years have passed, because there are no powerful monks who live the same life as heaven and earth. They can live for tens of thousands of years. I am afraid that the changes of history have already been buried in the long river of time, and no one can tell clearly. However, what Chi-Chang-I knew should be richer than that of the monks in Tianlin continent. Chi-Chang-I nodded and said, "Where I used to be, there is also such a legend. It is said that those wars caused drastic changes in the world and caused the cultivation environment of the entire cultivation world to decline. I think it is very likely to be true, because we have a few people there. Every place belongs to the ancient ruins, and such ruins are likely to have a certain relationship with the ancient times. It is said that those battles caused the world to change dramatically, and the cultivation world was torn apart. This Tianlin continent is very likely to be a continent that was split off at the beginning. There was such a guess when Chi-Chang-I was here, because it was related to whether he could return to his original place. The Tianfu College Collection Pavilion had a rich collection of books. The reason why he was willing to spend so long with Guyao to read various books, there is also the idea of finding clues from it. Then it's true that there are hundreds of tribes in ancient times. What races are there? Guyao continued to ask. Chi-Chang-I shook his head and said, "It's not very clear, but it is said that the special physiques of some monks are related to the 100 races in the ancient times, and they are probably the bloodlines handed down from those races in the ancient times, but they merged with the human race too early. Already." Just when Guyao wanted to ask further about his special physique, Tian Furong's message came. Chi-Chang-I frowned when he heard Tian Furong's worried words. "Brother Ye, what's wrong?" When they were thinking about how to explain this to Guyao, a figure blocked their way. The two of them fixed their eyes and saw that it was a thin old man with white hair and white beard. He wanted to stare at Guyao but reluctantly withdrew his gaze. "What a weird old man," Guyao murmured in his heart. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 82. Although it was the first time they saw this strange old man, Chi-Chang-I and Guyao immediately realized the identity of the visitor. Elder Yi of Jianfeng, whether it was his sword chi or his appearance, were very suitable. "You are Jianqiu, why don't you join my Jianfeng and waste time in the outer courtyard?" the strange old man asked Chi-Chang-I with a look of pity. He secretly observed Chi-Chang-I for several days and found that he had nothing to do all day, not doing his right job. One day there was very little time to practice swordsmanship in the middle of it, either following Guyao, the alchemist, to read books about idol and miscellaneous books, or to draw ghosts and talismans. Guyao found that this strange old man looked at him with resentment and anger in his eyes, and felt that at this time it was better not to make a noise to offend him. "So it's better for Brother Ye to go on his own." Elder Yi, Chi-Chang-I kept Guyao behind him without a trace, and cupped his hands. "Cultivation of the mind first, the younger generation's self-consciousness is not enough, and needs to be polished again. Thank you Elder Yi for your love." For what the hell, Elder Yi didn't believe a word of it, but if the dean released it, Elder Yi couldn't forcefully pull people into Jianfeng, stroked his beard and snorted coldly, waved his sleeves and threw out 2 pieces. "Yujian, say you are the one appointed by Jianfeng, you should look at these things first." After seeing Chi-Chang-I catch the jade slip, Elder Yi stopped looking at him and walked away, leaving behind 2 people who were a little dumbfounded. Guyao came out from behind. "The main purpose of this Elder Yi blocking the road seems not to want you to enter Jianfeng, Brother Ye, but to deliver things." Chi-Chang-I looked at the jade slips in his hands, one new and one old. The old one looked extremely simple, so he didn't rush to check it. He put it in the storage bag first, and said, "Go back first, Elder Yi himself has no malice, yes, probably because they hate that iron is not steel, and they are eager to seek talent. Okay. The two continued on the road. After they left, several figures appeared on the spot. One of them was Wu Feng Cai Fengju. Looking at the direction that Elder Yi left, he said displeasedly, "This old guy is really eyeing him. That kid, I specifically warned that this is the imprint of Jianfeng on that kid in advance. It's just nonsense." Forget it, Elder Yi didn't immediately pull people into Jianfeng, and he still listened to what the dean said. "This is a peacemaker." "No," Cai Feng said in a hurried tone, "have you noticed the jade slip that the old guy gave you just now? It should be that one, right? What is the idea of this old guy?" "Probably not. Maybe you've misunderstood Cai Fengju. Elder Yi is not someone who doesn't understand the rules. You said one sentence to me," temporarily dispelled the suspicion of Cai Fengju, looked at the direction where Qi Changjai and Gu Yao left, and then left with the others unwillingly, and then everyone's topic shifted to Gu Yao, the little cultivator. "It seems that the talent of alchemy is indeed outstanding, but it is a pity that it falls on the talent of the four spiritual roots." They didn't know that after Qi Changjai and Gu Yao walked far enough away, they turned their heads and looked back a few times. Although those people were hidden in the dark, they could be looked at so recklessly, and it was impossible not to realize that it was impossible, especially Qi. Although Chang Ye's cultivation has regressed, his vision and perception are those of a cultivator who once reached the golden core stage. Returning to the small courtyard, activate the formation. It is not an easy task for those monks to explore the situation inside without disturbing them. When they brought tea and fruit, the two sat at the stone table under the tree, and Qi Changjai took out the two jade slips that had been collected earlier. Qi Changjai looked at the new piece first. The jade slip was not small. Gu Yao saw that he didn't finish it so quickly, so he stayed by himself drinking tea and nibbling on the spirit fruit, and then took out the book to look at himself without disturbing each other. When Qi Changjai's consciousness withdrew from the jade slip, Gu Yao had already drank 2 cups of tea and nibbled 2 fist-sized spiritual fruits. When Qi Changjai opened his eyes, he looked over curiously, wanting to know what the strange old man was. Something was lost, and it attracted some other academy bosses to join in the fun. Qi Changjai chuckled lightly, took a sip of the spiritual tea in front of him, and said, "It's about the introduction of Jianfeng, the significance of Jianfeng's existence. How many outstanding swordsmen have been produced by Jianfeng over the years? This Tianfu Academy, Jianfeng, it exists to protect it?" "Ah, is it Jianfeng, not Wuofeng?" Gu Yao asked in surprise. "Yeah, it's Jianfeng, so the status and significance of Jianfeng in Tianfu Academy is extraordinary, but that refers to the past. Now neither Tianfu Academy nor Jianfeng has fallen, and Jianfeng has become less and less. Where people are willing to step into, if the dean is not from Jianfeng, maybe its reputation will be even worse. It should be said that in Tianfu Academy, Jianfeng's inheritance is the most complete. As long as Tianfu Academy exists, Jianfeng has guarded it for as long as it is." Qi Changjai showed a little interest in his eyes. "I think this Jianfeng is not simple, there are need to go." Gu Yao said curiously, "To say that Jianfeng's inheritance is the most complete, but the reality is that Jianfeng's overall strength is much weaker than that of Wuofeng, except for the President Yu. If the inheritance is complete, this should not happen." Qi Changjai explained with a smile, "Because only those who have passed through the Sword Pavilion are eligible for inheritance, and the Sword Pavilion was left by the first generation of Jianfeng peak masters. This jade slip does not say when it was originally, but Elder Yi is in the jade. Jane finally left me a message." "What is it?" Gu Yao's eyes widened. "He said, as long as you pass through the Jianj, you will get what I want." Qi Changjai raised his mouth. "What do you want?" Gu Yao suddenly thought of something and said in surprise, "Could it be?" Qi Changjai understood what Gu Yao had guessed, nodded, and said, "I guess it is very possible. Looking at the introduction to Jianfeng in the jade slip, the origin is somewhat extraordinary, and the original layout of Jianfeng and Tianfu College is not only in the therefore, I don't know what happened later, the entire Tianlin continent was limited, and the only communication with the outside world was the teleportation formation left by the Changxianmen. Gu Yao said happily that it seems that we entered Tianfu College on the right. Brother Ye, you have to do your best. What about this second jade slip? Qi Changjai smiled and said to take it slow. Now there is no need to rush into the Jianj, it is already here, there will always be a chance. As for this piece, I can't open it for the time being, because there are layers of prohibitions and seals outside, and the person who left the prohibition is a sword cultivator with a very good cultivation. Repair is not weaker than Jin Dan. Gu Yao pouted, it seems that Tianfu Academy, which is considered a garbage shelter in the eyes of cultivators in Tianlin continent, is actually a place where dragons and tigers are hidden. A piece of jade slip that was thrown out was actually sealed by Jindan Jiangziu himself. Jiangziu should come from Tianfu Academy, so what are the Northern Star sect and the Changxian sect? Is there a requirement for the sword cultivator who releases the seal? Gu Yao suddenly asked. Qi Changjai replied, yes, but just give me a little time, and I can solve it. I understand what you mean, Xiaoao, you mean that my situation should be known in the academy, right? Seeing Gu Yao's concern looking at him, Qi Changjai reached out and rubbed the top of his hair. It doesn't matter if you know, it seems that I am very useful to them at the moment. Although he had been in for a short time, Qi Changjai could see that there were a lot of secrets hidden in Tianfu Academy, which he had come into contact with, which aroused his interest and was much more interesting than entering other forces. Big brother Ye is good to know, big brother Ye has to be careful, Gu Yao urged. Qi Changjai nodded and smiled. Nameless Peak. Fishing by the lake changed from one person to two people, and the other person was Elder Jianfeng Yi. You gave that jade slip to Qi Changjai, Dean, you didn't even open his eyes, are you sure he can lift the ban on the jade slip? Elder Yi has a more fiery temper, so he pulled the hook up before he caught a fish for a while, and no fish was hooked. Didn't the dean say that he was probably Jindan Jiangziu before he was injured? It should be no problem, if he understands everything. If it doesn't open, none of these students can solve it. Dean, maybe this is the opportunity for our college to change. Dean doesn't want to give it a try. Otherwise, when the dean comes in the future, we Tianfu College may not be able to keep it. Dean Yu sighed, and finally opened his eyes. His eyes were full of helplessness, and because of Elder Yi's words, there was a little more hope. Well, maybe as you said, the opportunity for change lies in the students this time, then we just wait and see. Dean. The eldest Elder Yi had a sour nose and almost burst into tears. Dean Yu said in disgust, how old are you? You still need to guard the sword pavilion. Don't worry, Dean, if someone Yi is here, there will be a sword pavilion, and even if those people think, they won't be able to step into the sword pavilion. Elder Yi blushed, then patted his chest and assured. After this day, Qi Changjai has another task, which is to take out the simple jade slip when there is nothing to do, and rely on the water to grind kung fu day by day, and always grind away the ban outside the jade slip. Qi can't hurt him. Zhang Yan brought Zhou Li to the small courtyard again, this time to talk to Gu Yao about business. Xingyu Chamber of Commerce wants that series of beauty pills, Gu Yao asked in surprise. Yes, Zhang Yan smiled, there are two ways. One is that our Xingyu Chamber of Commerce pays a sum of spirit stones to buy out the pills directly. The second is that junior brother Gu buys shares with pills and gains profits from pills 20%. If there are other medicinal herbs in the future, they will get the same treatment. Gu Yao couldn't help digging his ears. This was to send them a spirit stone. Is it really possible to buy a share? Isn't your Xingyu Merchant Guild at a loss? Dan Fang buys out. Zhang Yan smiled softly, who made junior brother Gu have great potential. Senior brother, I don't know how many good things junior brother Gu can make in the future, just greed for immediate benefits, that is the most stupid way. What do junior brother Gu and brother Chi think? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 83. Naturally, Chi Changjai will not decide for Guyao in this matter, but is only worried about the problem of this pill, whether others can use the same method to refine it. Guyao touched his chin. Of course, he didn't want the spirit stone that came to his door, and he didn't want to make alchemy himself. As long as he provided the pill recipe, he could sit at home and collect the spirit stone. Only an idiot would push such a great thing out, he said. Yes, but it will take a few days to perfect the pill recipe. The pill concocting technique is somewhat special. I can practice it, but others may not be able to practice it. Zhang Yan said clearly, this is the reason why it is difficult for others to decipher the medicinal formula. Junior brother Gu is really amazing. Where, Gu Yao said humbly, actually, there is another reason why they can't analyze the alchemy recipe, because there are a few plants that are not considered to be in the ranks of the spirit herbs used in the alchemy recipe. This should be related to the mindset of the alchemist. Bar. Not only Zhang Yan, but even Zhou Li, who was sitting next to him, was stunned, so the reason why he couldn't parse the pill recipe was here. Just a few ordinary plants embarrassing all the alchemists. If this result is published, it will definitely shock the jaws of many people. Zhang Yan pressed his fist to his lips and chuckled, then we'll wait a few days for junior brother Gu's pill recipe. When Tian Firong and Little Fatty came back, they were happy for Gu Yao when they heard about it. Other alchemists went bankrupt in order to make alchemy, and they came to Gu Yao to sit at home and wait for others to bring them a lot of spirit stones. This is the difference. Can the alchemy recipe be changed to be suitable for ordinary alchemists? Gu Yao might have to pay more attention to it before the replacement, but there is a guy in his space who is proficient in alchemy and only has a soul body. The special point is that other cultivators may not be able to imitate it, but using the alchemy technique to extract medicinal herbs and spirit herbs can still be achieved to a certain extent, although the same level of alchemy masters cannot be as perfect as Gu Yao. Therefore, after Zhang Yan and the others left, Gu Yao drilled into the pill room to discuss with Su Chen, then determined the modified pill recipe, and also took out some of the seeds of several ordinary plants with special effects. They are all planted in the space, and a lot has been accumulated one after another. On the day when the contract was officially signed, Zhang Yan brought two alchemists from the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce over and asked Gu Yao to instruct them on how to make alchemy. Tao Yu was also present, and Miaoun Pavilion would hear about this. After Tao Yu learned that the business of beauty pills outside Tianfu College was taken over by the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce, she seemed to have a feeling that the dust had settled. Although Miaoun Pavilion also looked at this business, she wanted to expand this business to the college. In addition, compared with the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce, they can't compete with them at all. The Xingyu Chamber of Commerce did not compress their living space inside the academy, which has already saved face, so I have to smile and congratulate. Gu Yao taught the two alchemists several times before they mastered the refining method of this medicinal pill. However, the quality of the medicinal pills produced by the same alchemy cannot be compared to that of Gu Yao. The alchemist at Dan Peak couldn't raise his head, and both of them ran away in the end. When the contract was established, the three parties sat in the small courtyard to celebrate. Tao Yu said sourly, "Now, the four of you are richer than many old students, and you still want to stay in the C district. District A isn't too burdened, is it?" Zhang Yan smiled and said, "Junior sister, don't be sour, few people can achieve the level of brother Gu and brother Qi." Tao Yu laughed, she was just sour. After all, she had to rely on Gu Yao to make a fortune. Gu Yao not only possessed good alchemy techniques, but also his brain. Who can figure out a new alchemy formula by himself at this age? Of even if it is to improve the original foundation. Guyao smiled and said, there are spirit stones that everyone can earn together, but they do have to move. The purpose of earning spirit stones is to improve their cultivation. Zhang Yan nodded, yes, don't change the route. Although the environment of the small courtyard is good, after all, the place is a little small, and the aura condition is a little worse. Tianfirong and Little Fatty were very happy. They went to District A with Guyao to choose a courtyard. They happened to meet Pei Yuchun, who was strutting out surrounded by many people. They couldn't help but be surprised when they saw Guyao and his party. Immediately afterwards, he quickly realized why Guyao and the others appeared here. Thinking that when they first entered the academy, Guyao and the others were attracted by the people sent by Pei Yuchun. Of course Tianfirong and Little Fatty would not agree. The people sent by Pei Yuchun scolded them for being ignorant, saying that they would regret it sooner or later. Decision. But how long did it take to be released like this, and now they have come to District A to choose a courtyard. Among the newly admitted students, the 4 of them are the most in the limelight. That day, he was challenged by Dan Feng's alchemist on the commercial street. Many of them were at the scene, or they rushed over after hearing the news. At first, no one thought that Guyao could get out of his body and felt that they had offended Dan Feng. Will the days be better in the future? Although he still offends Dan Feng, Guyao defeated 2 consecutive alchemists from Dan Feng, and he was the leader of the 9th rank high-level alchemist, and gained a large number of admirers and favors in the outer courtyard. Some people even said that Guyao was the person in Shifang city where the Lord Hugu said that he wanted to accept his disciples. If I knew earlier that they wouldn't follow Pei Yuchun and Ho Chiang. I didn't see Tianfirong and Little Fatty, 2 people with little ability. Now they are complimented wherever they go. They never lack spirit stones and elixir. Not to mention more dashing. So seeing them appear, some people blushed, wishing to dig a hole in the ground to bury themselves. It turned out to be Alchemist Gu and a few brothers. Is Alchemist Gu also moving in? Pei Yuchun usually shows off his strength, but Guyao has to restrain his original attitude, especially when he is inseparable with the master. Everyone said that Qi Changjai was an evil spirit, but at the beginning he thought he was just an inconspicuous follower. How could he know that he was so powerful? Exactly, come here to see if there is a good quiet courtyard, don't disturb everyone. Guyao cupped his hands towards them. Guyao said so. Pei Yuchun had no face to stay, so he had to continue to leave, but his attitude was not as arrogant as before, and his voice subconsciously restrained. Watching their group go away, Tianfirong and the little fat man laughed and told Guyao a few things that happened before. It's only been a long time, and the situation has been quickly reversed. The 4 of them quickly picked a courtyard. The area alone was 4 or 5 times the original size, and there were 10 acres of spiritual fields. After handing over all the spiritual stones, the 4 of them quickly moved their luggage in. It was divided into an inner courtyard and an outer courtyard. Tianfirong and Fatty stayed in the outer courtyard, and handed over the inner courtyard to Guyao and Qi Changjai. The 4 of them discussed it. It's not good for this spiritual field to be vacant. If you use it, you can earn a lot of spiritual stones. Tianfirong suggested, we can grow the Lingmei we eat on weekdays, and we don't need to spend the Lingxi stone to buy it. As far as I know, the Lingtian grade here is between the 8th and 9th rank, and the Lingmei is of the same quality. The appearance is still quite good. Let's plant some spirit fruits with short growth period, and also plant some spirit grasses that you often use in Guyao. If you have spare time, you can plant whatever is popular in the academy. The spirit planter is still pretty good hire. Guyao looked at Qi Changjai. Qi Changjai nodded slightly. It's up to you, Xiaoao. So Guyao made a list, wrote down the spirit grass that he needed a lot, and gave it to Tianfirong. Professional issues should be left to professionals. As for his own space, as long as he provides enough spiritual energy, no matter what spiritual grass is thrown into it, it will grow by itself. The two of you should hurry up and practice. The store doesn't have to be guarded every day. You can also hire someone, just check it regularly, Gu Yao urged. Tian Furong and Little Fatty agreed immediately, and they also felt a sense of urgency. If they were thrown too far by Gu Yao and Qi Changjai, it would be useless for them to stay by Gu Yao's side, even if Gu Yao was willing to keep them because of their past relationship. They don't have this face to die. Tian Furong quickly found 2 experienced spiritual plant masters, and the 10 acres of spiritual fields were fully utilized in a blink of an eye. There were various spiritual techniques to promote the growth of spiritual plants. Within a few days, the spiritual fields were covered with a layer of green. It looks so refreshing. There are also 2 people in the shop, all of whom were found through the mission hall. If these people are not good enough, and if there is any problem, they can report it to the mission hall. After investigation and confirmation, these people will be sent to the mission hall in the future. Missions will be affected to a certain extent, so the commission paid to the mission hall is not in vain, and there is a certain guarantee. In this way, the 4 of them can devote themselves to cultivation more wholeheartedly. Half a year passed in a blink of an eye. Cao Quan and Feng Zhi harvested all the spiritual rice from the 2 acres of land, and used magic to fall off the rice. They said with joy, the quality of this time's green rice is really good, and it can all be of top grade. It will definitely sell a good one. Price. Feng Zhi laughed and said that it was because the ancient alchemists and the others were willing to invest, and they did not lack the spirit stones that sold spirit rice. Hey, junior brother Tian is over there. Both of them are veteran students, and they don't feel ashamed to be hired by new students. Among the 4, one is a 9th grade high-ranking alchemist who defeated Danfan's alchemist, and the other is a master who can defeat the 9th level Qi refining master. The veteran students are no match for their identities and strengths. They are envied by many people for taking this task, because they can buy medicine pills from Gu Yao nearby. In fact, Tian Furong and Wei Zhenfei are the ones who are more envied. When they first entered the academy, they were only on the 3rd floor of Qi refining and the other on the 4th floor. They were at the bottom of the outer courtyard, and they were responsible for the management because of their good relationship with Gu Yao. All the mundane affairs around them, there is no shortage of spiritual stone pills, this cultivation base is rising, so many people are envious and jealous, and they can't take their place. Huh? Junior brother Tian is on the 5th level of Qi refining, Cao Quan was shocked. The last time we met was on the 4th level. How long did it take to break through again? Remember that Tian Furong Lingon's aptitude is not too good. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 84. Tian Furong had just advanced to the 5th level of Qi refining. After coming out of the retreat room, he felt that the outside world was so beautiful. He never knew that he could practice so fast, and it was not impossible to look forward to building a foundation in the future. The medicine in his body had been cleared away long ago. Thinking of the source of the medicine, Tian Furong's eyes flashed a bit of obscurity, and he quickly threw it away. One day in the future, he will make everything clear. What he bears, he will not bear it without any complaints. When he left Yuanyang town with his eldest brother, it now seems to be the most correct decision. Otherwise, he will spend his whole life in Yuanyang town. Thinking of Big Brother, I don't know how Big Brother is in Tianhaimen now. His cultivation base should also increase. Big Brother's care and love for him is not mixed, and he also hopes that Big Brother's practice will go smoothly. Congratulations to junior brother Tian, your cultivation level has risen again. When Tian Furong approached, Cao Quan and Feng Zhi no longer doubted their eyes, they were really at the 5th level of Qi refining. Tian Furong's mouth is modest, but the corners of his mouth are so high. Where is it? It's just a fluke, thanks to Gu Yao and brother Kai's support. This attitude is not annoying, How can he be unhappy when his cultivation base grows, and Tianfirong is better at dealing with people than the little fat man? Maybe this is a natural ability, and the little fat man is good at distinguishing the crowd and selecting useful information. Those secret doorways are more familiar than Tianfirong. The two of them cooperate and are the best partners. Junior brother Tian, take a look at the spiritual rice harvested this time. It's all here. Cao Quan asked Tianfirong to check it. After seeing it, Tianfirong really liked it, and it smelled a refreshing fragrance. Then I will cook with new lingmai today, and you all stay here, and continue to grow the land. You are more professional than me in this regard. Okay, thank you junior brother Tian. Tianfirong put all the bagged lingmai into the storage bag and sent it to the warehouse for storage. After the statistics are done, he will set aside some of them for Cao Quan and Fengji. After all, compared with other residents in Area A, Guyao and Qi Changjai did not need the 10 acres of spiritual fields as their source of income. Tianfu College is not isolated from the outside world, even if it was unknown at first. After the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce opened a series of sales of beauty pills outside, who still didn't know that the pills came from Guyao, and they would know by seeing how close Guyao and the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce were. There is no strong buy or sell, so Guyao must benefit from it a lot, plus other sources of income. How many people in the academy can compare to Guyao's current net worth? Danfan's alchemist looked down on Guyao, and at the same time tried his best to analyze the medicinal formula in private. However, there has not been much progress so far. On the contrary, Guyao has made improvements and launched a few more on the basis of the original medicinal pill. The new elixir is very popular among the cultivators who love beauty. Is Alchemist Gu still practicing in seclusion? Alchemist Gu is really diligent. Feng Zhi couldn't help asking curiously after not seeing Guyao and Qi Changjai come out in the past 2 days. Tianfirong's eyes flashed and he said, "Yeah, you don't know Guyao, his biggest hobby is alchemy and cultivation. I won't tell you, you are busy, I have something to do." Junior brother Tian walked slowly. After Tianfirong returned, he placed the lingmai and glanced at the direction of the inner courtyard. In fact, Guyao and Qi Changjai were not there for the past 2 days, but Guyao felt that his cultivation had reached a bottle diameter, so he changed his cultivation method. After going out to try, of course Qi Changjai followed behind him to protect him. But now how many people are jealous of Guyao, so they didn't make a sound when they went out. Tianfirong felt that after consolidating his cultivation, he could go out to practice. Guyao and Qi Changjai concealed their appearance and walked on the outskirts of Kyukyu Mountains. The method to cover their appearance was taken from the little fat man. It was worth it to be able to pass the test under the eyes of the alchemists in Qian Valley. A mention. In fact, it's not that surprising. The reason why the little fat man has not been recognized is only because he used a human skin mask, which is said to be human skin, but it is actually made of silk spit out by a different kind of silkworm. The mask, whose texture is unrestrictedly close to human skin, was accidentally obtained by the little fat man and discovered its special function. It was only by relying on it that it avoided the eyes and ears of Qian Valley, and it has not been discovered until now. After being recognized by Guyao and Qi Changjai, the little fat man gave the mask to the 2 curious people to study, including Qi Changjai, because even Qi Changjai couldn't see through it, so this mask is not simple. Guyao didn't study the famous hall, but Qi Changjai discovered something. He found that a strange rune was incorporated into the mask. After researching it thoroughly, he copied 2 masks. It is difficult for ordinary foundation establishment cultivators to notice. It has been more than a day since I came to the periphery of this mountain range. Qi Changjai let go of his hands and let Guyao fight by himself. Guyao has calmed down a lot from the beginning, and now he has calmed down a lot. Control has also improved. The sky was getting dark, and the 2 found an open space to rest. When hunting monsters on the road, they left their rations for the night, so they raised a fire and started roasting meat. The barbecue was completely left to Chi Changjai, while Guyao took out other food from the storage bag, such as lingguo, lingmai bought from the dining hall, and flour cakes made by junior sister Bai, and soaked them in it. A pot of spirit tea, dare to say that other monks are not so comfortable when they come out to try. After the preparations were done, Guyao sat next to Chi Changjai to watch him roasting meat. Chi Changjai's craftsmanship has now improved significantly compared to the past. A layer of spiritual honey was brushed on it, and the sound of zizi was emitted by the barbecue. Quickly jumping into his nose, Guyao couldn't help swallowing his saliva. "Brother, yeah, are you alright? I smell like I'm hungry." Chi Changjai turned his head and saw Guyao staring at the roasted meat, swallowing his saliva. With a doting smile in his eyes, he touched his face with his fingers and said, "Eat a piece of cake first, then brush a layer of seasoning and you're almost ready to eat." "Okay, good things take time to wait." Guyao picked up a piece of flour cake from the plate next to him and brought it to Chi Changjai's mouth first. Chi Changjai looked down at the pale fingers and opened his mouth with a smile. Biting the flour cake, Guyao withdrew his hand, took a piece and put it into his mouth. "Bring a plate here." Guyao cheered and handed over a clean plate. Chi Changjai had a sharp knife in his hand at this time. After a few swipes, slices of meat as thin as cicada wings appeared on the plate. "Don't be hot, just squeeze a piece and throw it in your mouth. It's delicious, so delicious." Chi Changjai continued to bake, and Guyao fed Chi Changjai while eating by himself, and then talked about his experience during the day. Chi Changjai pointed out Guyao's problems and where he needed to improve. The voice came out, from far to near. It seemed that it was another wave of cultivators who came out to practice. Most of them were also students of Tianfu Academy, because this place has not yet reached Kinxuman's trial realm. Of course, it is not ruled out that there will be other scattered people. "Repair it." The cultivator had already walked out of the jungle and entered the field of vision of Guyao and the others, surrounded by a group of people in the middle. A female cultivator sniffed, "It's so fragrant, this person's craftsmanship is really good, and the meat is roasted so fragrantly, it must be delicious. Let's go and see. The big deal is to let them sell us a copy, or bake another copy for us. We just need to get the spirit stone," another person said. Guyao was full and was drinking spirit tea to digest his food. He looked up and saw that the other party was coming towards them. He said lightly, "There is someone inside who looks familiar, it should be someone from the academy." Chi Changjai also raised his head and glanced at it, but he was not impressed. He lowered his head and continued to clean up the mess. The rest of the barbecue can be made into jerky, and it can be eaten as a snack when there is nothing to do during the day. The two continued to work while talking in a low voice, until the pedestrian came to a stop not far in front of them, and a male student stepped forward and said, "You are also students in the academy? We want the rest of your barbecue." "No, there is no reason to eat other people's leftovers. Why don't we dig out some more spirit stones and let them bake a few more for us?" "Shishime, do you think so?" another male student hurriedly said. The female nun in the middle nodded arrogantly, "That's right, give them some more spirit stones, and bake them for Miss Ben right away." "Hey, did you hear that? This is Shi Yanyan, junior sister Shi. You guys act fast, junior sister Shi is starving at first." The male student rushed to perform, trying to make up for the previous mistakes. Guyao originally wanted to listen to it as a fun, but he all laughed when he heard this. When these people reported their names, it awakened his memory. It wasn't that he rushed in front of him half a year ago and wanted to smash the spirit stone to buy a follower like Chi Changjai. Man, I didn't expect to bump into it again when I came out after half a year. It's really a bad fate. Guyao sat cross-legged on the ground, and showed no sign of getting up and doing anything. He supported his chin with his hand and looked up from the bottom up. "Sorry, we don't have any shortage of spirit stones. You can find those who lack spirit stones to help you." The story of Shi Yanyan blocking the way to Bai people was talked about for a long time by the people around them as fun, so even if Gu Yao didn't know it at first, now he knows the origin of the Shi Yanyan, and I heard that she is the Shi family owner in the Shishan Chamber of Commerce. My dearest daughter, I think they had seen the shops of the Shishan Chamber of Commerce when they were in Shifang City. The scale is not small, and the forces that can be stationed there will not be too weak, and the Shishan Chamber of Commerce still has its own chambers of commerce in many places. It is not an exaggeration to say that the business is done all over the Tianlin continent, so the daughter who is favored by the Shi family has always been like the wind and the rain, and it is not surprising that she has such a temper now. It's just that others want to curry favor with her because of the Shishan Chamber of Commerce's power and status, and that doesn't include Gu Yao and Qi Changjai. How dare you talk to junior sister Shi like this? Who are you by your surnames? Sign up. I offended junior sister Shi. Let's see how you guys stay in the academy in the future. Do you think that you don't give enough spirit stones? Tell you, junior sister Shi will not lack spirit stones if she lacks anything, so hurry up and have a barbecue if you know the current affairs. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 85. Gu Yao couldn't help digging his ears. It was too loud. I can't understand people's words or what. There is no shortage of spirit stones. Okay, give me 10,000 spirit stones, and we'll bake them for you right away. You, lunatic. Gu Yao's lion opened his mouth and made the other party's jaw drop. He really wanted to think of a madman and offered a price of 10,000 spirit stones. Shi Yanyan was swept away. She was very unhappy, and was about to get angry when a male cultivator who looked much more gentle walked out from behind, stopped Shi Yanyan, and hugged Gu Yao and Qi Changjai apologetically. Make such an unreasonable request, cousin Yan, I'll bake it for you later. Although my cousin's craftsmanship is a bit poor, when I leave here, my cousin will definitely treat you to something delicious. Shi Yanyan glared at Gu Yao a few times, then followed her cousin to set up camp next to her, and a fire was raised in a short while. Qi Changjai packed up his things and said, it turned out to be her. I didn't expect to meet again. Don't worry, I'll set up a formation and leave at dawn after a night's rest. Gu Yao smiled and said, I know, it's just a coincidence that someone smashed it with a spirit stone, and they made fun of it for a while last time. Neither of them paid attention to the group of people next to them. As long as these people didn't come to provoke them, they would be fine at night. After they separated the next day, who would recognize the other? After Qi Changjai put on the protective formation, he and Gu Yao got into the tent behind, ignoring the group of people next to him. They were originally irrelevant people. In fact, monks who practice abroad often encounter such situations. Not everyone is willing to deal with strangers. In the wild, not only must guard against the monsters living in the jungle, but also beware of those who enter the jungle together. Cultivators, many monks died at the hands of fellow monks. But for arrogant and self-righteous people, this kind of ignoring them is enough to make them angry. These two students are two bastards. What the hell, junior sister Shi, let's teach them a lesson. Junior sister Shi is willing to let them roast meat, but she has such a big tone. Does anyone know their identities? I have to clean them up when I go back. Although one screamed more fiercely than the other, no one stood up and ran across to clean up the two people. Shi Yanyan's cousin grilled the meat and brought it over. Reprimanded. It's unpalatable, and none of you can bake meat that tastes just like that. Then what's the use of asking you? All of you are waste. Several people's faces were blue and white, but no one jumped out and said that Shi Yanyan's sentence was not. In the end, the scolded cousin took out the pastry spirit fruit that had been prepared earlier, and coaxed her to eat some, so that she would not be hungry. While gnawing on their stomachs, other people either ate the dry food they brought or nibbled at a few bites of the roasted meat. When nibbling on the charred meat, they couldn't help but recall the tangy aroma they smelled before. No wonder Shi and Yan wanted to eat it, even they did. Very hungry. Some people were scolded for not daring to blame Shi and Yan, and they all took their anger on Guyao and Qi Changjai. It was they who made Shi and Yan have a bad temper. Yan's side should be her entourage and let them cook exclusively for Shi and Yan for the rest of their lives. It was late at night, and Shi and Yan and her group also took a rest, leaving a few people to watch the night in case of unexpected events. Shi and Yan naturally lived in the best tent. When there was only snoring in the camp, and the roars of beasts came from the depths of the surrounding jungle, a fog suddenly rose, drowning the surrounding vegetation and insects, as if they were swallowed up. Even the original insects, the beeping, disappeared. The people who were still vigil suddenly fell down, and seemed to fall into a deep sleep. The mist climbed over them and spread to the tent in the middle. The fire trembled and finally turned into darkness. However, the fog was obstructed by another tent, blocked by the formation, but relentlessly wanted to move on. Qi Changjai, who was sitting cross-legged in the tent and meditating, suddenly opened his eyes, and two sharp sword chi flashed through Yaoi. Guyao, who was also practicing breathing, immediately woke up, opened his eyes and asked, "Brother Ye, what's wrong? Is there something wrong?" He listened carefully. There was no movement outside, it was very quiet. Wrong. Guyao soon realized it and jumped up immediately. It was too quiet. He and Qi Changjai spent the night in the wild last night. However, in the middle of the night, the roars of animals and insects in the wild were very clear and audible, unless they were isolated by a formation. Now it is dead silence outside, and something is wrong. "Pack up, let's go out," Qi Changjai confessed. Guyao immediately followed suit. Qi Changjai knew more about the survival experience in the wild than he did. When the two of them got out of the tent, they saw that the sky was obscuring the stars in the sky. In the middle, unable to tell the direction, Guyao was startled. "Brother Ye, what the is this?" Qi Changjai's expression was solemn. "It should be the ghost fog insect, but this thing should be in the dangers deep in the Kyukyu mountains, and should not appear on the periphery. Could it be that something went wrong in the depths of the Kyukyu mountains? People are most likely to be afraid of the unknown." After Qi Changjai said that it was a ghost fog insect, Guyao calmed down a lot regarding the Kyukyu mountains. He also took some time to understand it after entering the academy, because the depths, although there are many dangerous places, there are also many treasures, and Guyao is interested in these things. Among them, there are ghost mist insects. This is a strange creature. The mist is the companion of this species of insects. If the insects multiply and live together, a continuous fog will form. If someone who does not know it breaks in, it is likely to be corroded by the fog and eaten by the insects. Is it possible that this kind of ghost fog insect can be manipulated? If someone manipulated it, it can explain why it appeared outside. Qi Changjai didn't play with bugs, but this situation is not impossible. Whether it is or not, let's leave here first, and the surrounding formation will be corroded by ghost fog bugs sooner or later. "Okay, I will listen to you, Brother Ye," Guyao said without hesitation. Turning around and putting away the tent, Guyao followed closely behind him and took a high-level defensive amulet on himself, which was produced by Qi Changjai. Qi Changjai then removed the protective formation, and the crowded fog outside rushed in immediately. Thinking of the dense insects hidden behind the fog, Guyao's scalp tingled and he would rather fight the monster. And do not want to deal with this kind of bug. Qi Changjai grabbed Guyao's arm, and after the word go opened a layer of lightning shield, covering Guyao, and suddenly when the layer of lightning shield touched the fog, bursts of crackling sound came out. It is indeed a ghost mist insect. The fog is poisonous and corrosive. After inhaling the fog, people can die unconsciously, but the ghost fog insect is not invincible. It is afraid of fire and thunder, and it is afraid of the extreme sun. The ghost fog insects were all killed by the lightning. The fog around him kept surging, but it was no longer approaching. It was obvious that he was afraid of the thunder light mask, but the fog was getting thicker and thicker, and the road ahead could not be seen at all. Guyao took out a few charms and said, "Brother, yeah, I will come." Said after that, he threw the talisman in his hand, and there was a burst of fire and thunder in front of him, blasting out a way out. Chi Changjai then swept forward with Guyao. Guyao was worried that the ghost mist insect was being manipulated, and the person behind it didn't know what was hidden and how strong it was, so it was better to ensure Chi Changjai's combat effectiveness. There were bursts of fire, thunder, and lightning, and large tracts of ghost mist insects were burned to the ground. The ghost mist insects obviously knew they were afraid and did not dare to gather again, so they quickly rushed out of the foggy area. At this moment, screams and screams came from the fog, obviously belonging to Shi Yanyan and their group. "Damn, you can't let them go, lest the news leak. These two people aren't our targets, right? We don't have enough manpower, and ghost mist insects can't stop them. Who are they? Didn't you investigate clearly before the action? Forget it, first catch the girl from the Shi family inside, and then clean up the two outside when you have time." "Okay." There were whispers in the fog. At this moment, the place where Shi Yanyan and his group rested was a mess. After being woken up by the thunder and lightning outside, when he got up and was about to scold, he was startled by the scene in front of him. At first, they didn't know what the fog that surrounded them was, and no one thought of the ghost fog bug. After all, as Chi Changjai said, the ghost fog bug originally existed in the dangerous land deep in the mountains. It came from outside, but when one person stumbled under his feet and found that it was a corpse that was gnawed beyond recognition, he exclaimed, it was a ghost fog insect. Shi Yanyan was very unhappy when she was woken up, but her cousin brought someone over first. Protecting Shi Yanyan is the most important thing. "Yanyan, it's a ghost bug, don't be afraid, my cousin will protect you." "What? Ghost fog bugs? Quick, get rid of them, I don't want to see such terrifying bugs." When Shi Yanyan heard it was this kind of bug, he screamed in fright, thinking that this kind of bug might wrap himself tightly and gnaw on him constantly. Shi Yanyan was about to faint. "Cousin, you're going to kill them, fast." "No, they came over, dash. If it encounters a monster, the Xi'an Research Institute will take the initiative to rush over and kill it for a while, but this kind of insect, even if it has a protective magic weapon on its body, will be scared." Cousin's son knew the temperament of his cousin, and the people brought by the commander quickly resisted these bugs, attacked with fire and washed with water, and finally achieved certain results and restored order to the chaotic camp, but soon one person screamed out loud. Only then did they realize that there were still people in the fog, and it was someone who attacked from behind relying on the fog and killed one of their companions. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 86. Stinky girl, just be obedient and capture it. Do not dash. The fog dissipated, and the original campsite was in a mess, and there were several corpses on the ground that had been devoured into shape. In the second half of the night, silhouettes shrouded in dark shadows wandered here from time to time, and occasionally a voice made a sound. Is it really running? Running so fast? It seems that we need to find out who has left the academy in the past few days. It was not until the sky was bright that Chi Changjai and Guyao showed their signs on a big tree. Guyao looked at the dead body below with a complicated expression. Even if the other party was still rude to him and Chi Changjai yesterday, they were lost in the blink of an eye. Life, this result made him a little unacceptable. Does Xiaoyao blame me for not helping them? Chi Changjai asked in a low voice, but there was no fluctuation in his eyes. This kind of scene didn't arouse much emotion in him at all, and it was far less important than Guyao's thoughts. Guyao shook his head and said, "It's not your fault, you also said that there were foundation building cultivators among those people last night. It seems that the other party is targeting Shi Yanyan and the others, or even the Shishan Chamber of Commerce, otherwise the target it won't be so clear, and the base building cultivator was dispatched to let Brother Ye rescue him. Whether it hurt Brother yet? Let's report the news." They stayed here in the middle of the night, and Guyao clearly noticed that there were several groups of people coming before and after, just trying to catch the two fish that slipped through the net, maybe because they didn't expect the two little chi refining cultivators to escape without a trace. "Let's go, but they are hiding here, the monk who can control the ghost fog insect is too suspicious. This world is indeed much more dangerous and cruel than the interstellar world. Only one's own strength is the foundation of survival in this world." "Okay, report the news." Chi Changjai agreed. A firework rose to the sky and the knot was released. Guyao and Chi Changjai left enough reminder clues and left here quickly. They should not reveal their identities. The emergency signal attracted the attention of many people in the academy. Not long after the figures of Guyao and Chi Changjai disappeared, several rainbow lights passed by from a distance, and they were shocked to see the scene of this place being swept by. What happened at night? What's the matter? Who else sent the emergency signal? Look, there are words on the ground. Several figures quickly landed on the ground. The first person was Teacher Fang, who Guyao and Chi Changjai were familiar with. They first recorded the picture with a photo stone, and then checked what was written on the ground. The words were left by Guyao, erasing all the imprints that might have left their identities, only stating the identity of the people who were taken away, the ghost mist insects that appeared at night and controlled by the monks, and the other side had a foundation building cultivator. How to deal with this matter? I didn't expect this group of thieves to come to the trial grounds of our academy and attack our students. This matter should not be false. It is very likely that the one who sent the signal and left a message was also a student of our college. He handled it properly and did not act impulsively. I think we are divided into two groups. We will follow the clues all the way to track down, and we will inform the Shi family owner of the Shishan Chamber of Commerce. This matter is likely to be directed at the Shishan Chamber of Commerce. That's right, let's split up. The academy responded very quickly. After finding out the identity of the students who were killed, an announcement was made in the academy. There was a group of criminals in the Kyukyu Mountains. Hurry back to the academy as soon as possible. At the same time, the academy is also releasing tasks in the task hall. However, the level of the task is relatively high. For the monks in the foundation building stage, this is to mobilize the foundation building monks of the academy to participate in the action of catching the gangsters. This announcement caused a lot of repercussions in the academy. If you ask again, you can find out that the person who happened is Shi Yanyan's group of students. They all speculate that Shi Yanyan has offended someone, or that the gangster has other goals, but the goal is so clear that most people don't worry too much about their own safety. One step out of college. Tianfirong and Little Fatty got the news right away, and the two secretly screamed badly. This time Chi Changjai and Guyao happened to be near the accident site. They heard that someone escaped from the gangster and reported it to the academy in time. And leave important clues, it can't be them. If it's them, don't worry too much, as long as their identities are not exposed, because it means that they are already safe, as long as they come back quietly with everyone. In the afternoon of the same day, Guyao and Chi Changjai met a group of students who had been informed that they were rushing to the academy. The two pretended to be aware of this for the first time, and after hearing the admonition from the other party, decided to go back to the academy with the crowd. Seeing Chi Changjai and Guyao coming out of the inner courtyard without a sound, Tianfirong and Little Fatty were greatly relieved. You guys are finally out, something big happened in the academy. Seeing Tianfirong's exaggerated tone and the appearance of wiping cold sweat, Guyao couldn't help but smiled knowingly, and listened to him and the little fat man talking about the situation in the academy, and finally said, "Now the students in the Kyukyu Mountains are all here." Going back, the people who originally planned to go out also changed their plans, especially the female students, because I heard that the cultivator of the other party actually subdued the ghost fog bug, thinking about being surrounded by the ghost fog man unknowingly. Harry. There are some students who like to raise strange bugs. They said that after this incident is over, they will form a team to go to the depths of the mountains to fight the ghost fog bug. If I want to say that they should stay honest, where is the bug? It's such a quirky hobby. Tianfirong thanked him for this. There is a lot of gossip about the little fat man, that Shi Yanyan is usually quite arrogant. I didn't expect to be captured alive, and I don't know what will happen. The matter of forcibly buying Chi Changjai has been rumored for a long time, and he secretly laughed. Now some people say that Shi Yanyan is usually too arrogant to offend people. This matter has nothing to do with our academy, anyway. There are any opinions? Gu Yao looked at Chi Changjai and said, "Then let's wait for the wind to pass, then go out for a walk." Nodding late night. In fact, although Gu Yao was forced to stop early this time, he still had some harvest. In addition to exercising his resilience and using spells to fight, he also collected a lot of plant specimens. The storage bags were all full, so although there was a lot of noise outside, everyone was waiting for the outcome of this incident, but Gu Yao stayed in his pill room, studying various plants and trying to dig out of them valuable crops with special effects. Tianfirong and Little Fatty have been paying attention to the news outside. During this period, someone also came to ask if Gu Yao and Chi Changjai had left the academy. Of course, the two denied it, but they were secretly vigilant. What was the intention of inquiring about Gu Yao and their whereabouts? But no matter whether it was the scout of the gangster or the arrested Shi Yanyan, there was no reliable result. I only heard that the Shi family was furious when they learned that their beloved daughter had been captured, and they issued a high reward, hoping that someone could rescue him. His beloved daughter, many people are interested, including their academy, but up to now the clues about the villains are still left by Gu Yao and the others, such as ghost mist insects, such as base building monks, and no new ones have appeared. Those people outside are too useless. It's been a few days now and still haven't found Shi Yanyan's whereabouts. I don't even know whether she is alive or dead, Tianfirong muttered when the four of them got together. It should be alive. It is impossible for the other party to kill people if they fail to achieve their goals, but until now these people have never appeared outside our academy. All outsiders agree that the Shishan Chamber of Commerce has provoked their own enemies, and there are even gossip. It was rumored that the Shi family got a rare treasure in their hands, and the news was leaked out for some reason, and it might be an internal ghost, so the enemy family used Shi Yanyan to blackmail the Shi family master, the little fat man said. No way, what kind of rare treasure makes those scoundrels do this? Tianfirong asked curiously. Gu Yao and Chi Changjai looked at each other, and things seemed to be getting more and more mysterious. Unfortunately, it was so foggy at the time that they didn't even meet the villain's face, so they couldn't provide any more useful clues. Suddenly a group of spiritual light appeared in front of them with a pop. Gu Yao stretched out his hand and clicked, and there was Senior Brother Zhang Yan's voice. Senior Brother Gu, Brother Chi, something has happened, the Shi family has been exterminated, and only Shi is left. The head of the family escaped under the protection of loyal guards, and the rest of the Shi family were all killed. After the voice was transmitted, the group of light turned into a spot of light and dissipated, but the four of them were stunned and their eyes narrowed. If it wasn't for Senior Brother Zhang Yan, Tianfirong and Little Fatty would have wondered who was joking. Woolen cloth. Tianfirong's throat was a little dry, and his voice was astringent. The Shi family was destroyed overnight. The Shishan Chamber of Commerce was destroyed. So it seems that the news that the Shi family has treasures is true. Otherwise, why would it be worthwhile to make such a move and destroy a whole family? The Shi clan, including the monks who are attached to them, Don't know how much, the power behind them is terrifying, and no one knows about them until now. True colors. Don't panic, we'll do what others do, don't be impatient. Chi Changai's voice had an icy metallic quality, hitting the hearts of Tianfirong and the little fat man, making them calm down a lot and each other. Look and nod at the same time. Wait a minute, Guyao and I go to the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce to see if there is anything else. Chi Changjai said again. All right, you guys are also careful. I was worried that these two would be discovered by the forces behind them, I'm afraid they wouldn't let them go easily. The fact that Guyao and Chi Changjai left the academy could be hidden from others, but they could not be hidden from Zhang Yan. Because they needed an ID card to enter and leave the academy, they asked Zhang Yan to get 2 more pieces. In this place, a spirit stone can make a ghost push. In the place of grinding, it is not too difficult to get 2 ID cards. Every year, many students die due to various reasons outside. Some ID cards are not cancelled in the academy. They use this kind of cards. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 87. Guyao and Chi Changjai were walking in the academy. From time to time, students flew by and above them. Different from the worried expressions before, this time they were a little more excited and hurried. Looking at the direction they were going, it was clearly outside the academy. As soon as the two stepped into the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce, Jolie appeared and took them upstairs, saying as they walked, I really don't understand these people in the academy. Now the news of the treasures in the Shi family is spreading. The few people are running outside, they also want to find treasures. Guyao was stunned when he heard it, they want treasures to kill them? How can treasures be so good? Jolie agreed, yes, but there are not many people who think this way. They think that maybe the treasure will choose someone with fate. Maybe they happen to be the person with fate. It's better to take a chance than to do nothing at all. And now not only our Tianfu Academy, but other sect forces are also involved, but it seems that those gangsters who killed the Shi clan are insignificant. You are here. Zhang Yan looked at them and smiled, are you interested in taking this trip? I was just saying that the students and cultivators outside were dying, but now senior brother Zhang came to ask them if they wanted treasures. Seeing Guyao's wide-eyed eyes, Zhang Yan explained in a soft voice, according to reliable information, junior sister Shi has appeared, so this time out, our main task is to find junior sister Shi and find out the monks who destroyed the Shi clan. What kind of power is it? This power is hidden behind the scenes and people have to guard against it. Guyao looked at Chi Changjai, the latter nodded, yes, I will protect Xiaoao. Then he turned his head and said to Guyao, Quan Dang goes out for some training, which is good for cultivation. Okay, I'll listen to brother yet. Then we're done, we need to leave as soon as possible. Zhang Yan smiled. Guyao and Chi Changjai asked Tianfirong and Little Fatty. The latter two consciously dragged their feet and voluntarily stayed to watch the industry in the academy for them, but if they encountered Tianfi Yang outside, Tianfirong said that in case they met if Tuo Gaiao handed over something to his eldest brother, Guyao would naturally not refuse. On the same day, the two of them sat on Zhang Yan's flying instrument, accompanied by teacher Fang, and several other veteran students who were not weak. Such a lineup, even if they met the monks in the later stage of foundation establishment, it may not be without a battle. Power. Therefore, Guyao also relaxes his mind. As Chi Changjai said, Quan should go out to practice once, and grow his knowledge and broaden his horizons. Cultivation is not a closed door. The last news is that I heard that the Shi family master who escaped went to the ancestral land of the Shi family, and the people behind also chased after Shi Shime. If it hadn't been exposed this time, we wouldn't know that the Shi family was still alive. There is an ancestral land, and it can be seen that the original Shi family has some origins. It is a pity that the Shishan Chamber of Commerce has gone through this disaster. The people inside colluded with the monks outside, and the Shi family died and injured, Leaving behind such a huge industry is very coveted, but in just a few days, the huge Shishan Chamber of Commerce fell apart, and many shops have replaced their original plagues. Do you know who is the Shishan Chamber of Commerce in Shifang City? Who took it? Gu Yao asked curiously. That Chamber of Commerce is worth a lot of spiritual stones, not to mention there are many rare treasures in it. When he said that, his heart moved, and he thought about who might fall on hand. Sure enough, the commentator confirmed his guess, it fell into the hands of the city lord's mansion. Sigh, I doubt it. He swallowed the rest of the words and made a gesture to shut up. Gu Yaokong blinked at Chi Changjai. Does he mean that Shifang City's city lord's mansion is behind him? Or put in several hands? Stone family ancestral land. A group of people came in a flying instrument, which was still quite a distance from the ground. The monk above dropped a heavy object, and it fell to the ground with a bang. The heavy object groaned and groaned in pain. It was clearly a person. The man tried his best to move on the ground, but the spiritual power was applied to his limbs and the meridians were cut off. He couldn't move far at all, and one person fell in front of this man. The man raised his head with great effort to see who was standing in front of him, and his mouth made a whimper, and his eyes shot out the anger of hatred, but the monk in front didn't take it seriously. Send it in, and the person who can only make a whimper scolds you, Sun Fengzi, you slut, you are ungrateful and treacherous, my father will definitely not spare you, and will definitely cut you thousands of pieces, so that you can't survive, can't beg for death. Haha, cousin Yanyan, do you think you are still the little princess of the Shishan Chamber of Commerce? Don't you know that the Shishan Chamber of Commerce has been destroyed? Your Shi family is almost dead, and you are the only one left to ignore you and the Shi family. Running away alone, knowing that you are in our hands, cousin, but look at your favorite father, did he show up to save you? Haha, cousin Yanyan, do you know? You are not even a dog now, son. After Fengzi finished speaking, he got up and stepped on Shi Yanyan's wrist, and crushed it mercilessly with his foot. He could hear the sound of bones shattering, and Shi Yanyan let out a shrill scream and passed out. However, Sun Fengzi didn't show any pity. He turned around and shouted to the open area, Uncle, seeing cousin Yanyan like this, doesn't my uncle feel bad at all? Isn't my uncle coming out yet? Sun Fengzi shouted several times in a row, but there was no response in the open area in front of him. A cultivator covered in black robe walked up to Sun Fengzi. Sun Fengzi immediately stepped back and bowed respectfully. Licking her dry lips, she said, it seems that Shi Jingcheng loves this daughter very much on the surface, but in fact, Shi Yanyan can give up at any time in his mind. Shi Jingcheng is really overestimated. The black-robed cultivator said in a hoarse voice, no defense. Shi Jingcheng, you can indeed watch your daughter suffer humiliation, but we have all come here, do you think we really don't know the secret that your Shi family has been guarding for many years? Besides, you stone, the blood of the clan is in our hands, without you, Shi Jingcheng, we can do the same. There was still no movement in front. The black-robed cultivator snorted coldly, waved his hand backwards and ordered, bleeding. A cultivator stepped forward and pulled Shi Yanyan's arm open with a knife. Suddenly, the space ahead fluctuated, and a figure finally appeared. Wait. Sun Fengzi smiled smugly, as expected, the senior said, without Shi Jingcheng, the blood of Shi Yanyan will work as well. Sun Fengzi, Shi Jingcheng was only middle-aged, but he looked embarrassed because he had been fleeing for the past few days. He was staring at Sun Fengzi fiercely at this moment. Pain flashed in his eyes, but it was quickly replaced by hatred. My Shi family is not bad to your Sun family, and you actually colluded with outsiders to destroy my Shi family's entire family. What is the benefit to your Sun family? Sun Fengzi disapproved and said, what you said is not thin, that you treat my Sun family as a slave and a servant? How often did your precious daughter not yell at me? My son Fengzi is obviously qualified, You're Shi family, but you would rather raise a Shi family that is not as good as mine, but throw me next to your precious daughter and wipe her everywhere. This is what your Shi family calls not being thin? Since you don't give it to my uncle, then I have to get it myself. What's the use of uncle talking so much? Is it to delay time? Or open your Shi family's secret place as soon as possible, so that senior can see it, Sun Fengzi said maliciously. Shi Jingcheng was so angry that he almost vomited blood, hated Sun Fengzi, hated the Sun family, hated his bedside person, not the bedside person who leaked it out. How would the Sun family know about the hidden ancestral land of the Shi family? But at this moment, he was forced to the point where the mountains and rivers were exhausted. Had to compromise with the enemy. I can open the secret place, but I need Sun Fengzi as a hostage in exchange for my daughter. Sun Fengli shuddered, and quickly turned his head to look at the senior black-robed cultivator. Don't listen to his nonsense, he deliberately wanted to take revenge on me. Senior only needs to meet my one request, and I can offer my hands to the secret place. Shi Jingcheng grinned grimly. Senior, Sun Fengzi wanted to continue to dissuade him, but unexpectedly, the black-robed cultivator slapped him from behind and slapped him directly in the direction of Shi Jingcheng. Shi Jingcheng stretched out his hand like a claw and grabbed Sun Fengzi's arm, directly tearing off the entire arm shoulder to shoulder. Sun Fengzi screamed incessantly. He tasted the pain no less than Shi Yan's concubine, but he endured it extremely soberly. Afterwards, Shi Jingcheng didn't even look at the daughter who was being held in his hand, and used the secret method handed down from the ancestors of the Shi family to open the secret place. In a blink of an eye, all these people outside disappeared, leaving only a stump arm and the blood on the ground. About half an hour later, another flying instrument arrived. Zhang Yan moved his nose and sniffed a few times, and said, "It should be here, Senior Fang, let's go down." Gu Yao twitched at the corners of his mouth. This nose is really smart. Could it be that they found it because of senior brother Jiang's nose and sense of smell? When they landed on the ground, they saw a broken arm that fell on the ground. It was very clearly torn down by someone with great force, and there was blood splashed on the ground. Looking at the blood stains and broken arm, the time when those people left it didn't take long. Zhang Yan stretched out his palm, and a butterfly flapped its wings and flew out in the palm. The wings were crystal clear. When it left Zhang Yan's palm, colorful light spots landed. Under the refraction of the light, this butterfly was a little strangely beautiful. This is a crystal butterfly. It is good at tracking, but it is extremely difficult for a crystal butterfly to hatch into a butterfly. Qi Changjai explained to Gu Yao in a low voice. He found that whether it was the crystal butterfly or the ghost mist insect he encountered before, it was actually on his previous continent. It was extremely rare. It turned out to be Jingdi. The name is really vivid and very beautiful, Gu Yao praised. Jingdi danced in front of Zhang Yan in a circle and dropped a piece of crystal powder before flying forward. Zhang Yan reminded, "Follow me." If the previous pedestrians stayed here, they would find that the road led by Jingdi was the route they took to enter the secret place. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 88. Once the ban on the secret place was opened, it left traces after Zhang Yan and his party followed Jingdi to find the entrance. They injected spiritual power to tear the entrance apart. Teacher Fang Wanggruo kept the others behind and reminded, "It's not known exactly what is going on in this secret place, everyone should be careful, and try not to separate if you have to." Yes, Teacher Fang. If it wasn't for the Shi family being secretly targeted, the various forces in the Tianlin continent would not know the origin of the Shi family and the existence of this ancestral land, so whether the ancestral land of the Shi family is a treasure or a dangerous place, or the huge wealth of the Shi family, or rely on the stone mall will be gathered together for many years of operation. Fang Wanggruo is usually carefree, but this person is thick and thin, and it is this cautiousness that has led him to this day. Looking at the black hole torn apart in front of him, he took the lead and plunged in, followed by Zhang Yan, Qi Changjai. Grabbing Gu Yao's arm, he jumped in together. As soon as their eyes got light from the darkness, the group was shocked by the crawling dark red in front of them. At the same time, there was also the smell of blood coming from their nostrils. Fang Wangru reacted quickly and threw out a ring-shaped magic weapon, throwing himself. The students behind him are all shrouded, the breath is isolated, and it seems that the dark red squirming below can still be heard making an angry roar. The bottom seemed to be a hell. It was the first time Gu Yao saw this kind of scene. It was good enough that he didn't kneel down on the spot, and said in shock, "What is this?" "This is the blood-corrupting vine. After the blood-corrupting vine is dormant that day, it can only be awakened by the blood of the person who domesticated it, including the descendants of that person. In other words, this secret place is indeed passed down by the ancestors of the Shi family. Only with the blood of Shi's descendants can the blood vines be awakened, and then this secret place can be opened from the inside," Zhang Yan explained after seeing what was below. Gu Yao looked around, only the part in front was dark red, as if it had just sucked blood, and the back was a black piece, but it seemed to be recovering, conveying a kind of bloodthirsty cruelty. Qi Changjai's expression was solemn, and he obviously did not expect it to be the blood vines of the sky. Once the blood vines are awakened, they need to eat a lot of blood to calm them down, otherwise they will attack frantically regardless of whether they are enemies or foes, until one of them win or die. "Let's go," Fang Wangru reprimanded. Heart palpitations arose in everyone's heart, desperately followed Fang Wangru's figure and shot away, the moment they just left, violently from below, shooting out countless dark red snake-like objects. It seems to be able to pierce everything. At the same time, it is also exposed that there are several dry corpses below them. Gu Yao just glanced back and happened to catch a glimpse of the corpse buried in the gap. His heart was pounding. From the outside, the corpse should have just died, but the blood all over his body was emptied in an instant, and his voice was hoarse. "How many are there?" "The corpse was left by the person who just came in." Qi Changjai nodded. "It should be, since it was passed down by the ancestors of the Shi family, the master of the Shi family should know the situation here. He used those people. The newly awakened blood vine needs enough blood, so he took those people. Sacrifice to these blood vines, and he can use the time to escape. Be careful." The blood vines at the back were chasing very fast, and at the same time, the other blood vines were also eager to move. They were surrounded by them from all directions. Fang Wangru was holding a gourd, and flames spewed out of the reed, burning a way out. The others also showed their means. Gu Yao threw the magic talisman that he had prepared in his hand, and if any fish slipped through the net. Before they got close to them, they were smashed by the sword energy. I don't know how long it took to fight, and suddenly the siege of the blood vines weakened. Fang Wangru took them with a rush of energy into the blood vine's encirclement, and continued to fly forward for a while, until he was far away from the range of the blood vines. Down. Everyone looked at the back with lingering fears. Unexpectedly, the ancestors of the Shi family used such monsters in their secret places. Fang Wangru wiped the sweat on his forehead and said, "Regulate your breath as soon as possible and leave." When people came, we attracted the attention of the demon vine, and we temporarily avoided people from other forces to reduce conflicts. Yes, Teacher Fang. Their line of work can follow the trail to this place. It is not that there are no capable people in other forces. Sooner or later, they can follow various clues to follow this place. Therefore, the current situation is not surprising. After 2 or 3, he waved his hand and ordered, "Go." After the demon vine, there is a barren land. This time, they did not let Jingdi lead the way. The Shi family master can design the ambush once, and then he can design the second time. No one knows if he will follow his trail or not. In his trap, the eclipse blood vine will absorb all the spiritual energy around it before it goes dormant, so the environment here is normal. Qi Changjai saw Gu Yao's confused expression and explained, because in addition to the desolation of the surface, the aura here is also very thin. Yes, I didn't expect Brother Chi to know a lot about this kind of foreign object. Jiang Yan smiled. Chi Changjai said calmly, I was in the same environment, and then I learned about this kind of demon vine after seeing the relevant records there. Our luck is not too bad. If we can show the strength of Jindan, then none of us can escape today. Fang Wangru glanced at Chi Changjai with admiration, and said, we are not too lucky. It seems that the ancestral land of the Shi family is to protect something. Let's go, and see if you have a chance. As for whether to grab this thing or not, I don't think it is so important when I come in and look at the rear. Now that more than one force is involved, it is easy to cause trouble for the upper body when the thing is grabbed. Maybe it was because of the existence of the blood vines, they did not encounter any danger. They flew down in one direction, and they saw an equally barren mountain. At the same time, they heard the sound of fighting in the mountain. Fang Wang, like a gesture, everyone immediately concealed their aura and sneaked towards the location where the fighting sound came from. Through the cracks in the stone, I saw that several monks on the mountain road below were surrounded by a group of spiders. Each spider was the size of a grinding disc. It not only sprayed venom, but also spit spider silk. Ryu said in surprise, it's actually a spider puppet, and then clearly said, in this place where the spiritual energy is evacuated, it is difficult for living creatures to survive, and only this kind of puppet is safe. Jiang Yan looked at it for a while and said, the Shi family master and Shi Shimei are not here, and the cultivators below can't tell their identities. Fang Wangru looked into the depths of the mountain. Perhaps the place guarded by the demon vine is here. Let's go down and have a look. Since he's here, there's no reason to look back. Okay, then follow the seniors to explore. Jiang Yan smiled. Several people no longer hide their traces, and a few figures swept out. The monks who were fighting the spider puppet were shocked, but one of them shouted loudly, everyone is also here for the ancestral land of the Shi family. Shi Jingcheng has already entered. These puppets are released under his control, only by defeating these spider puppets. Only then can we enter from the front passage. Fellow deists, why don't we work together? Okay, let's clean up these spider puppets first. Fang Wangru laughed, and took the lead in throwing out a scale-shaped magic weapon and smashing it. Gu Yao also joined the battle, using wood spells to spawn strong canes to trap the spider's claws, while Chi Changjai waited for the spider to spray venom to corrode the cane, and hit the puppet's control hub with a few swipes. A spider the size of a millstone collapsed with a bang. When they watched the monks and the puppets fight from above, the two of them thought about the weaknesses of these puppets, and at this time they were even more connected. The two cooperated quite tacitly, and several other people, including Jolie, were not weak in combat. The two sides were wary of each other, but they joined hands to quickly clean up the spider puppets outside, and no puppets ran out of the passage. Fellow deist Fang of Tianfu Academy, a black-clothed cultivator, asked tentatively, clasping his fists. Exactly, I don't know what you call your friend. Shi Yanyan was arrested on our academy site, and we have the responsibility to trace her whereabouts. Fang Wangru glanced at the other party and said sternly. My surname is Zhao. Fang Dai Gao Yi Zhao Xiu said this, but he didn't take it seriously. The people in Tianfu Academy used the Shi family's daughter to raise the banner, and the picture was not the treasure in this ancestral land. Tianfu Academy's the students are all young and handsome. According to Zhao, they are not inferior to those sect disciples. There are many misunderstandings in the world. Haha, fellow deist Zhao looks at them highly. Why don't we go ahead and talk about it? Fang Wangru laughed. Okay, fellow deist Fang, please. The two parties were wary of each other entering the passage ahead. The party surnamed Zhao seemed to be more worried that Fang Wangru and others would suddenly burst into flames, but Fang Wangru and his party had no such idea, because they knew that there were people coming in behind, and it was not necessarily the case. He will be trapped by the Eclipse blood vine, and maybe he will come over later. Fighting with these people is a waste of energy, and maybe he will be cleaned up by the latecomers. Not long after they entered the passage, two people came from behind, but they described Wang Ru and the others as being much more embarrassed. When they landed on the mountain road and saw the puppet spider fragments on the ground, their expressions changed. It was obvious that there were a few groups of people in front of them, and they were far behind. The two groups of people glanced at each other and rushed to the passage, temporarily truce, and reserved their strength to deal with those who entered first. As soon as their figures disappeared, another latecomer arrived, and they also got into the passage without saying a word. It's just that many cultivators left their lives at the gate that just entered the secret place, and became the blood food for the blood vines of the sky. Wave after wave, surging like a wave of blood. After walking through a section of passage, what appeared in front of Guyao and the others turned out to be more than a dozen fork roads. Cultivator Zhao lost his humility at this moment, and pointed to a fork road first. Let's enter this one. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 89. Crystal Butterfly appeared in Zhang Yan's palm again, flapping her wings, as if she were conveying some message. Senior, Patriarch Shi and the others should have entered that passage, Zhang Yan said softly, and it was obvious that no one was stupid. Xiu Shi and the others also had the means to track them down. Just like the people who came later, everyone showed their magical powers. Depends on who has better luck. Let's go another way, together or apart. Fang Wangru looked at Zhang Yan and the others and said. Zhang Yan said it's better to separate. Senior leads a team, I lead a team. Brother Qi, how about you? Qi Changjai held the sword and said, I'm with Xiao. Guyao agreed unconditionally. No one has any objection. The most people follow Fang Wangru. After all, Fang Wang is a foundation building cultivator. Jolie and two other students from the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce followed Zhang Yan into one of the forks and watched them disappear. In the fork, there were hurried footsteps behind them. The two looked at each other, and then Qi Changjai grabbed Guyao's arm and disappeared into the randomly selected fork. The voice behind him disappeared, and only the footsteps of two people walking on the fork were left in his ears, but Guyao felt extra relieved at this moment. In a blink of an eye, the two of them found themselves in a sea of fire, and fire snakes swept toward them. The hot breath seemed to burn them up. Qi Changjai reminded Yi, this is an illusion. As long as you don't let it go, if you fall into a fantasy world, you won't feel hot. As soon as Qi Changjai finished speaking, he pulled out his sword and slashed to one side, only to hear a bang. A fist-sized puppet hiding behind a fiery snake, shattered into pieces, then pulled Guyao's arm and said, go. Along the way, Qi Changjai smashed 4 or 5 identical puppets in a row. This kind of flying puppet and illusion are integrated, making people hard to guard against, but it can't hide Qi Changjai's perception. After Guyao calmed down, he could also perceive the strangeness in the illusion. When he attacked one of the puppets with his spiritual power, that is, divine sense, he harvested a complete small spider puppet, and Guyao put it in his hand. Pinch it, then throw it into the storage bag, and study it after going back. The sea of fire disappeared, and the two found a stone door in front of them. Qi Changjai stretched out his hand and pushed it open, confirming that there was no danger before letting Guyao enter with him. There is not much space behind the stone gate. There is a stone platform in the middle. There are several items scattered on the stone platform. The two walked over to check. 2 of the jade slips were of simple texture. Said, this one records a firefighting art, which should be useful to you, Xiao, and the second one contains an earth-based cultivation method. There are also 2 jade bottles, which are filled with medicinal pills, but when you open them, you can see that the pills are useless. The last one is a ring-shaped magic weapon the size of a palm. Chi Changjai checked it and let Gu Yao put it away. This is a defensive magic weapon. He has always wanted to find a magic weapon for Gu Yao, but so far he has not found a suitable one. This one can only be said to be improvised. Gu Yao himself thought so. If the magic weapon is not good enough, it is better to smash the magic talisman directly. There is no shortage of defensive attacks. In addition, I rarely went out before, so I didn't pay attention to the magic weapon. The magic tools came out, and my heart was a little itchy. This is a high-grade magic weapon, and it's not bad. Brother Ye, what kind of existence do you think the ancestors of the Shi family are? The things here should not be considered good. There was nothing else in the stone house. Chi Changjai took Gu Yao away, continued to walk forward, and nodded. Maybe it's the same as entering here. It takes the descendants of the Shi family to get the treasures guarded here. For us outsiders, it's enough to give a few insignificant things. After walking a few steps forward, the environment changed again, turning into a sky full of yellow sand, and the end could not be seen at a glance. The two of them walked for a while without noticing any other abnormality, but they were all sober that they were trapped in another illusion again. It's getting hotter and hotter in the desert. This kind of warmth is more real than being in a sea of fire before. It's better for a long night. Gu Yao's cheeks were flushed, and his eyes were a little blurred. Fire poison, Chi Changjai snorted angrily when he saw this, and stabbed the fiery red sun hanging like an ornament in the air with the sword, only to hear a bang. The sun turned into black and red fireballs and fell down. Just before they got close to the two, they were all stopped by Chi Changjai's sword energy. At the same time, a water magic talisman was photographed on Gu Yao's body, and Gu Yao suddenly woke up a lot. What's wrong with me? Gu Yao found that he had left the yellow sand area and returned to the passage. There were black and red stones on the ground that were steaming with black gas. What is this? Chi Changjai thought of the scene just now, and a dignified color flashed in his eyes. This is the black chain stone, which can release fire poison. Fortunately, it was discovered early, so it shouldn't have much impact. Gu Yao also found that his state was not right just now, and he was a little scared. The various methods of this cultivation world were really unprepared. If he was the only one, he might be attacked at any time. But look at the strange black and red stone on the ground and say, why don't we put this stone away, maybe it will come in handy. I'm coming. Chi Changjai stopped Gu Yao's movements, pulled out a box that could isolate his breath, put a few stones in it, and then closed it and threw it into a storage bag for less important items. After passing this level, a stone gate appeared in front of the two of them again. Pushing the door in, they also saw a stone platform. There were 4 or 5 items scattered on the platform. Among them, the spirit grass and spirit pills were the same as before. The remaining 2 magical tools, one is the water-type magic sword, and the other is the earth-type shield, which are not suitable for the two of them to use, but the shield can be brought back to the little fat man, and Gu Yao has put it away. I don't know how many levels are ahead, and whether the same situation is in other passages. Chi Changjai took Gu Yao through one pass, and the things he got after passing the pass were also various, some of which were invalid elixir and herbs, and some were cultivation methods. Some were jade slips and books, and Gu Yao finally collected 2 magic swords, one for fire and one for wood, which he could use until he found a better magic weapon. These 2 magic swords are of higher quality than the previous ones. They are top quality magic weapons, and even a foundation building cultivator may not be able to use the top quality magic tools, so it is a good harvest. Pushing open another stone door, there were no 4 or 5 items as expected, only a black cobblestone-like object. Is it an egg? Chi Changjai checked it again and said uncertainly, there is a very weak vitality in it, but I have never seen such an all-black egg. Chi Changjai asked himself that he was in a large sect like Lingyunzang, and he was well informed, but this suspected egg stumped him. If Su Chen is awake now, Guyao will ask him if he recognizes this thing, but unfortunately he tried to communicate with him when he came out, but there was no response. Why don't you put it away first? Go back and check it again. Well, let me put it away. Chi Changjai rushed to put it away, worried that this unknown object would be dangerous, and it would be more appropriate to keep it by his side. Guyao has no opinion at all, but Chi Changjai threw everything that was useful to him, but until now, he has not found anything useful for Chi Changjai, and the sword in his hand can't keep up with Chi Changjai's repairs. In order, it's just that the sword attribute he uses is special and needs the thunder attribute. As soon as Chi Changjai put away the suspected black egg, a light circle appeared on the ground of the stone house. Chi Changjai grabbed Guyao, and the two were teleported out. So this is the last level in the passage? After taking the black egg, it will be sent out? As soon as the two stood firm, they heard the sound of a fight not far away. They looked closely and saw that they had left the mountain and returned to the previous barren area. They looked at each other and rushed to the place where the fight took place. Senior brother Zhang, seeing Zhang Yan and Zhou Li also coming out, Guyao was overjoyed, and Chi Changjai hurried to join them. Hearing the voice, Zhang Yan was also very happy to see them, and Zhou Li did the same, patted Guyao on the shoulder. Okay, you guys came out smoothly. Chi Changjai saw a paralyzed person beside her. It wasn't Chi Yanyan who was taken away, but now she could no longer see the arrogance on her face, and what was left was a twisted hatred. Can't recognize it? Guyao, who had finished talking to Zhou Li and the others, also discovered the people on the ground. After identifying them, he carefully transmitted a voice to ask Zhou Li what was going on. Looking at the fight in front of him, many people were scuffled together, among them Mr. Fang and the others. The cultivator Zhao that I met before is opposite at this moment, and I don't know the others. Can't you recognize it? This is Shi Yanyan. When we first came out, we encountered Senior Fang fighting with others. Among them was Patriarch Shi, who left Shi Yanyan to us to take care of. Guyao was taken aback. He didn't expect Shi Yanyan to be tortured into a human form. If Zhou Li hadn't said it, he wouldn't have dared to recognize it, and asked in a low voice, which one is the Shi family master? Zhou Li pointed at him and Chi Changjai. It's the middle-aged monk who uses a ruler-shaped instrument in the middle. They found their treasure? What is it? Guyao couldn't help but ask curiously. Zhou Li looked around, then lowered his voice even lower, and said to Guyao and Chi Changjai, it's the black nether flame marrow and Wujiao Suanzi. The former can cultivate the black nether flame, the latter can directly help the monks condense the golden pill. I heard them quarrel before. It is said that the ancestors of the Shi clan once fell into the Black Abyss but came out alive, and brought out a lot of unique treasures in the Black Abyss. It grows in the Black Abyss. Heiminjian, a special cultivator of different fire, can't touch it at all, and if it touches it, it will be burned with the flesh and soul. Earth treasure is different. After absorbing it, you can slowly cultivate the black flame in the Danshan, and if you have the black flame, it is a good thing that can block and kill gods and Buddhas. Zhou Li's eyes lit up when he talked about Heiminjian. It can be seen that it is really a good thing, but it is a weapon for killing people, but it is not very helpful for alchemy. Minjian's interest has decreased a lot, but it is no wonder that these people are vying for the lethality of Heiminjian. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 90. Shi Jing Cheng, hand over your things, or you won't be able to escape today. Shi Jing Cheng, you have no way out. It doesn't matter if you die, think about your only daughter. All of them made threats to Shi Jing Cheng. Even if there were monks standing on his side, their eyes were shining. Obviously, they were very tempted by those two things. It would be 100 times more difficult to condense golden pills on Tianlin continent. Even more, the black nether flame marrow can be given up, but the Wuxiao Suanzi made the foundation establishment cultivators present very tempted. Patriarch Shi, I'm sorry, I quit. Fang Wangruo saw that the situation was getting worse and he got out in time. He was also very interested in these two treasures, but he knew more clearly that once he got any of them, he would fall into the same situation as Shi Jingcheng in a blink of an eye, and eventually he would also be jealous of these two treasures. The cultivator was torn to shreds, and he brought the students out, so he could not be held responsible for them. Protect Yanyan for me. Shi Jingcheng bleeds from his 7 orifices, and even tried his best to send Shi Wangru out. He knew that he would not be able to live, but he hoped that his daughter would be sheltered by Tianfu Academy, and he himself would die. Those who want to pull these pads back, ah! You bastards, bury them all for our Shi family, come out. Shi Jingcheng was knocked to the ground, and he tried his best to get up again, roaring in the sky like crazy. His body burst in many places, and blood was continuously spurting out, and soon he became a man, and some people still did not stop attacking him, in a blink of an eye. Shi Jingcheng had half his life left. As if the sky was full of blood, Fang Wangruo, who had retreated to one side, saw that the blood flowing to the ground was decreasing, and suddenly realized what Shi Jingcheng was going to do, turned around and ran to Zhang Yan and the others, and called, "Quick, leave quickly. Here. Go." Zhang Yan and others naturally knew that they couldn't compete with that group of cultivators. Even the existence of the Shi family was considered to be ruined, let alone them, so Fang Wangruo immediately turned around and ran out, and also picked up Shi Yan on the ground. "Yan. No, Dad, no, Dad." Shi Yanyan shouted frantically. Just when the others hesitated because of Fang Wangruo's actions, suddenly the ground under their feet trembled, but before they could take any more action, the whole ground exploded with a bang, and countless blood vines poured out instantly, and one of the thick blood vines directly penetrated Shi Jingcheng's heart and hung him high. The weird thing is that Shi Jingcheng didn't die at this moment, and he still laughed wildly. "Come on, He Minjianzhu and Wu Jiao Suanzi are here with Laozi, come and get them." "Yanyan, I'm sorry, my fathers." "Revenge yourself, Yanyan, you have to live well." "Don't daddy." Boom. 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 The blood vines burst open continuously, but more blood vines were born in an instant. When I glanced back, I could see that the sky and the ground were covered with blood vines, and some people fled, but Shi Jingcheng threw out 2 things. The next moment, those people were not afraid of death and turned around to them. Those 2 things were the black nether flame marrow and Wuxiao Suanzi. Ha ha! Shi Jingcheng's crazy laughter can still be heard, but Shi Yanyan burst into tears. Even blood and tears flowed down. Shi Jingcheng couldn't survive, not only sacrificed his own flesh and blood, and even his soul to the sky eclipse blood vine. At this moment, the ancestral land of the Shi family has completely become hell. Qi Changjai and Guyao followed Fang Wangruo with all his strength. For some reason, the blood vines avoided them, causing them to fly out without hindrance. Suddenly, Qi Changjai's pupils shrank suddenly, a hole was broken in a storage bag on his body, a black figure flashed away, and when he looked back, he saw a black figure flexibly jumping between the blood vines. Jump until you can no longer see. Qi Changjai turned around and continued to rush out without looking back to investigate the origin of the shadow. At this moment, his and Guyao's lives were more important. This scene, except for him, who was as close as Guyao, did not notice, let alone other people. Fang Wangruo rushed out of the secret place with the students in a rush and came outside, and then stopped. At this moment, there were also monks guarding outside. When they saw them coming out, they came to ask questions, and some even wanted to Shi Yanyan. Was stopped by Fang Wangruo, and Shi Jingcheng was inside. "If you have the ability, go inside to find Shi Jingcheng. What do you care about with a girl whose limbs have been crippled?" Guyao has attended the Immortal Ascension Conference in Shifang City, so he recognizes many familiar faces, such as the senior brother named Yan Yang from the Northern Star Sect, and the disciples of Qin Xiumen and Kui Yang. Of course, most of them are unfamiliar faces. There are still many people rushing here and entering the secret place without listening to persuasion. Guyao, Mr. Qi? So it's really you, my second brother didn't come? Is he okay? Tian Haiman was far away, but he got the news and rushed over, but he was the slowest one. Tian Fei Yang also followed. As soon as he came, he searched everywhere. To his delight, he saw Guyao and Qi Changjai, and after talking to Tian Ru, they came over. Guyao was also very happy to see him, and pulled Qi Changjai to talk to him. Tian our brother is very good in the academy. Tian brother, you don't have to worry, as expected, joining the sect is different. Tian brother's cultivation has greatly increased. What? Knowing that the second brother is in good condition, Tian Fei Yang is in a very good mood. He came out only to increase his knowledge and broaden his horizons, but not for the treasure. He is not qualified to compete. If his aunt was not there, he would even be competing for the spot to come out and see. Can't get it? So, not as good as you and Qi. Tian Fei Yang got stuck when he said this. He didn't have time before. At this time, he paid attention to Guyao's cultivation level, and then he couldn't even talk. Guyao, have you reached the 6th level of Qi refining? About to break through? When he was in Shifang City, Guyao was on the 5th level of Qi refining. With his talent, he was outstanding enough, but others thought it would be difficult for him to make further progress, but only half a year later, he broke through again, and reached the edge of breaking through again. If you go a step further, you will be a high-level cultivator of Qi refining. Even Tian Fei Yang himself is stuck at this level, which is much more difficult than breaking through from the 5th floor to the 6th floor. Guyao smiled. Yeah, you forgot what I'm good at. If you drink more medicinal herbs, your cultivation will go up. Tian Fei Yang twitched the corners of his mouth. It was strange to believe in Guyao. The ghost was clearly Guyao, but although he was shocked, most of the emotions were filled with joy afterward. The stronger Guyao and Qi Changjai were, the more powerful they were in Tianfu Academy. The higher it is, the better it will be able to protect his second brother, especially after hearing from Guyao that he and Qi Changjai opened a shop to sell medicinal talismans. Thank you and brother Qi, with you here, I can rest assured for the second brother, I brought some things out. There are for you and brother Qi, and the rest you help me bring Fei Rong and the little fat man named Wei Zhenfei. Tian Fei Yang quickly took out the things he had prepared, originally thinking that it would be better if he could meet someone he knew this time. Guyao is also happy for Tian Fei Rong. It can be seen that his eldest brother has genuine feelings for him, and there is no falsehood. The Tian family's problem has nothing to do with Tian eldest brother, so he also secretly handed over the pills and other items that Tian Fei Rong prepared for him, and asked him to check after leaving. Presumably next time we meet again, big brother Tian will definitely become a high-level Qi refining cultivator. Fang Wangru originally planned to stay outside for at most 2 days before leaving, but unexpectedly, something strange appeared at the exit within half a day. Fang Wangru took the students and retreated all the way back, and saw that the exit was opened. Several people. The black-spotted figure ran out staggeringly, and countless blood vines behind them wanted to drag them back to the secret place. Soon the exit was occupied by the eclipse blood vines, and no one escaped from it. Get closer. You can also hear the creepy voice of the blood vine as if it is gnawing at something. The great elder of the Northern Star sect, it was a cultivator who looked old-fashioned without an arm. It is said that he was originally a cultivator who was only one step away from establishing the foundation. Elder of the 7-star sect, the man fell headlong as soon as he escaped danger, and was rushed over by the other disciples of the 7-star sect and brought him back. That's Elder He from Shifang City. This man was almost out of breath, and was almost dragged by the blood vine again. Go back. There were only a few people who came out alive, and after waiting for a while, No one came out. The monks who were present knew that it was almost impossible for those people to come out alive. One Shi family ancestral land can be said to have buried dozens of monks, among which the foundation was built. The monks accounted for the majority. The group of people headed by monk surnamed Zhao who had been with Guyao and the others did not see any of them, but they all stayed inside. Seeing the desperate attitude of Shi Jingcheng and monk surnamed Zhao and others, it was obvious that they had a big hatred of. The monks were silent for a while, and suddenly someone said, "Where's the black nether flame marrow? Where's the Wushao Suanzi? Whose hands did these two treasures fall into?" Hey, one person let out a sneer, attracting everyone's attention, and found that the person who laughed was the great elder of the Northern Star sect, and after seeing him weakly looking around, he said, "Wu Zhao Suanzi was caught on the spot by those the demon vines are torn apart. As for the dark flame marrow, they have long since been submerged by those demon vines. Now go in and look for them, maybe you can find them. I wish you good luck here. The North Star sect will not participate, let's go." Bei Xingzong left first, without embarrassing Shi Yanyan anymore. Fang Wang wanted to take the first step when he saw this, but was stopped by several sects and insisted that he keep Shi Yanyan. This disaster is because of his stone. From home, this girl must give us an explanation, or does your Tianfu Academy want the benefits of the Dushi family? Yes, so many comrades were brutally killed by Shi Jingcheng, anyone can leave, even this girl from Shi Jingcheng can't leave. Fang Wangru's temperament is not very good, and he was furious at the moment. What is the cause of this disaster, ask yourselves. The Shi family's mistake is that they have treasures but do not have the strength to match them, causing them to be jealous. Sin, there is only one bloodline left in the huge Shi family, and you are not willing to let it go.